Okay. Ayan, it's okay. Alright. So, as promised, I'm gonna try and give you guys a flesh tone tutorial. Please forgive me kasi it's really my first time and kung ano nung app pa ang tinry ko just to figure this out. But hopefully I can do this justice and I would be clear so that everyone can understand. So, as usual, my favorite to use are Faber Castell watercolor pencils. And in each set of, I think, yung 48, it always comes with these two flesh tones. There. 432 and 430. So, the first thing I do pag flesh tone would be to just color the face. I don't really worry too much about the direction in which I'm coloring because later, as you will see, once we apply water onto it, it can correct many of your multi-directional strokes. So, trying to go fast. Face. This is, by the way, a picture or a page from the book Look by Suwa, published by Coloring Today. So as you can see, bara any direction will do. And then I'm trying to cover as much ground as possible of what I can see of her skin. Okay, can do the rest later. Okay, also if you've noticed, I have an extra sheet of scratch paper underneath so that pag lumagpas, I won't get colors on the following page. Okay, so right there. Now, this is the lighter tone, and then usually I put in a little bit of my darker flesh tone where I think the light would be, or rather where the shadows would be. So usually yun yung lowest parts of the face. So I usually start with under the chin and neck because that's where almost always there's a shadow. The collarbone. And then, of course, this one, medyo may cleavage siya. Under the hair because the hair covers that part of the skin, so it will be slightly darker. Okay, as you can see. And then, for the face, usually, people have shadows near the corners of the eyes where it meets the nose and at the edges. Because usually, we find people who are attractive, yun yung people with high eyebrows or rather people with deep set eyes. So, I like doing that. And then, I'm imagining that my light source is coming from this direction. So, most of the shadows will fall on this side of the face. So, right under her cap. And part of her forehead, maybe. And then, I want to keep her cheekbone medyo light. Because usually, the cheeks are up and high on the face. Part of under her mouth. And also the cast shadow of her hair on this side. Okay, so that's where it is. So, as you can see, messy, but that will all be fixed once we apply water. So, I like using this kind of brush. Focus. Camera can... So, it's called an angle brush because I can use the flat part for larger areas. And then, I can just turn the brush and then this one is a thin part. Okay. So, when using watercolor pencils, my general tip would be always have tissue ready because you don't want to put too much water. So, I put water on my brush, dab a little bit, as you can see, remove the excess water. And then that's when you apply and mix on your coloring book or paper or printed page. So usually this technique doesn't work well with printed pages kasi yung inkjet, it starts to bleed once nababasa. So I like using this on coloring books with a professional printer. So I'm just moving the colored pencil around. As you can see, it's starting to sort of meld together, and it looks almost like it was done in Copic marker, because Copic markers can do this. So light touch, and always never put too much water on your brush. When I apply the water, I try to follow the contours of the face. And then, okay, again, blot. And then just use the water to flatten out and mix the existing watercolor pencil on top of it. I hope it can be seen on the camera, because right now all the strokes that we did earlier are all melted together, and hindi na halata na binilis-bilisan natin siyang gawin kanina. Alright, the rest of the arm, etc. Okay, now usually after this I wait for it to dry, and then I do sort of like finishing touches. So I'll be right back. Okay, so medyo dry na siya. Okay, you'll know when the paper is not too cold to the touch. If it's still quite cold to the touch, kahit feeling nyo dry, it's not advisable to color on top of it kasi magninis-nis your paper. So you want to make sure it's not cold. Okay? So if you remember, may guides na kayo where you put the shadows before. You just color over, now this time lightly, with the darker flesh tone pencil, so that the skin comes alive. Now sometimes I add pink for her blush or for her eyeshadow, but for now we're just doing it purely flesh tone. So I'm just going over all the places where I put the shadows when we began, but this time I'm taking care not to press the pencil too hard on the paper so that the strokes are not too obvious. So once natapos siya, it's as if you were really careful in the beginning. Okay, is it seen? Yes, in the video first time. Okay, so try to blend it out using the pencil. Use the pencil to add shading, and so on and so forth. Okay, so hopefully this will be of some help to people who like to try portrait coloring. And then if ever, you can just write in the comments if you have any questions about this technique that I use, and I will be happy to answer. Thank you.